Welcome back to Danger Zone DIY. Today we're going to be working on the neck off of our Autographed Pantera guitar. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be pulling these frets out of here. Reason being, they were not done properly. We're also going to be attempting to pull these fret markers out of here because honestly, if we have the frets out, we might as well work on the fret markers at the same time. It'll be a lot easier than trying to fix them with the frets in. So just quickly, I want to show you something, why we're pulling the frets out. We're pulling the frets out because whoever installed them ended up cutting the tang of the fret. The tang is the part that goes into the fretboard. They ended up cutting it really far back from the edge of the fretboard. So along the bottom here, you'll notice this piece that has these diamond triangle shaped markings on it. This piece is the tang. So that is the piece that actually goes into the fretboard of the guitar. So you can see where they've cut the tang on these frets back in from the edge. This side is not too bad. This side here is a little bit worse. On a guitar fretboard like this, where the fretboard is not bound, you really, honestly, you don't need to cut this back. If you wanted to, you could cut it back a tiny bit, like where the screwdriver is right now. But this, on this particular guitar, in my opinion, this fret tang is cut back too far. The edges of these frets have nothing holding them into the fretboard, basically. So they're never going to seat properly along the edge of the fretboard, which is going to cause problems with them feeling jagged. It's also going to cause problems with the strings getting caught up underneath them. So the only way to really fix this is to pull these frets and install new frets. So that's what we're going to do. Right now, we're going to pull the frets. So without further ado, let's get on to that. So I'm going to try using an iron to heat these things up a little bit. I'm hoping that if they've used any kind of glue, it will help the glue release and I won't end up destroying the fretboard pulling them out. Now, I want to be careful while I'm doing this because I don't want to heat it up so much that the glue between the fretboard and the neck lets go, because that'd be pretty bad. But let's keep our fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. So I'm just gonna heat them up a little bit. That's a little bit. We'll see. And then I've got these end nippers that I've ground flat. These ones are beat up, but hopefully they'll still work for us. And we're just gonna kind of grab the fret, kind of walk it out. Oh, that's not looking good. That is not looking good. Ooh. So you can see that's done some damage there. That's what I was trying to avoid. So not happy about that, but you know what? That's just one of them. Okay, so we got all our frets out of there. So not too happy about the chipping taking out these frets, but I think we can figure something out for that. Now we got to get these fret markers out of here. So I feel like if we just heat them up with the iron, it will get the glue melted a little bit, and then we can just kind of prime out of there. So let's cross our fingers that will work. Maybe not. Definitely smells like melting glue. Oh, what do you know? Beautiful. This should be all right now. There we go. All right, so there we go. We got all the fret markers pulled out. We got all the frets pulled out. So now we can start on our long road back to recovery. So this is what it looks like when you pull out all the frets and fret markers. Now I'm going to clean this iron off in case there's any of this glue stuck to it. There we go. That should be just fine. Just looking through this box here, I've got some mother of pearl. I have mother of pearl here, right? So these are just some offcuts off another guitar I built many years ago. But the problem is real mother of pearl comes in a lot thinner pieces than this fake stuff. We're gonna have to do this kind of the hack way, and we're just gonna fill these in with epoxy. Maybe I'll come up with a better idea of something else I could use other than epoxy, but yeah, it's gonna be a real treat. So I've decided what I'm gonna do is do a little trick I heard about using super glue, baking soda, and I'm actually gonna throw in some glitter too to kind of make it look more, I don't know, to make it pop, I guess. Before we get on with the inlays, what we're gonna do though is we're gonna kind of fix the edges along each fret where it's all torn up. So what I'm gonna do is just basically push the wood that's torn up down, and then I'm gonna go over it with some thin super glue just to kind of glue it back into place. And yeah, I'll take it from there. I'm gonna cover the edge of this fretboard with some painter's tape, just so I don't think any of the super glue is gonna run out of here, but I kind of want to prevent it from running out of here if it is going to. So this is just kind of extra safety precaution. Okay, I'm just gonna support it a little bit with some wood just to keep it somewhat level. I'm just gonna first go along and just push down any of these loose pieces into position. So what we're gonna use to do this is some thin viscosity super glue. Okay, so I just want to mention this super glue, any super glue, not this particular brand, but any cyanoacrylate glue, specifically the thin, is actually cyanoacrylate was developed to close wounds. So what that means is it is extremely good at gluing your skin together. That is why I'm wearing these gloves. You can also not see, but I'm wearing glasses right now to prevent this from splashing into my eyeballs. Whenever you use this glue, you have to be extremely careful not to spill it. If you do spill it, do not get it on your skin. Absolutely do not get this stuff on your skin, anywhere on your body. It will glue every part of you together. This stuff is extremely thin, and it can very, very quickly get out of hand and cause you some extremely serious problems. If you haven't used this before, you may want to consider having some of the solvent close by, which I believe is acetone. Because I can't stress this enough. You do not want to mess around with this. It's serious. I've got also some of these, they're called pipettes, and what I'm going to do is just suck a little bit of the glue up into one of these and use that to dispense it. So, suck some of it out. It's probably more than we need, but we'll run with it. So, I'm just going to go around each fret and just kind of Dribble some of this in there to reinforce the wood. I just don't want to completely fill these fret slots with super glue. This is kind of a little bit messier than I expected it to be. Okay, so that is that. The next thing we got to worry about is some of these fret markers have really chipped out. It's kind of hard to tell with all that goop on there, but right around this area on this fret marker, and there's a couple more, has chipped out when I popped those out of there, or the frets. I'm not sure which one, but I'm just gonna have to fill those in before I fill the fret markers. So to do that, I'm just gonna use a little bit thicker super glue. Hopefully it will retain its shape a little bit better. Okay. And we're just gonna hit that. We're just gonna hit that with some accelerator. Set it off right away. Now, is there any other ones that could use that? We could do a little drop here. Do a drop there. Kick that off. I think the rest is all right. All right, so we got our whole fretboard sprayed down in the accelerator. The next thing I'm going to do, because this is actually very cold out here, is I'm just going to heat this up with a heat gun. A lot of these fret markers are quite deep, so what I'm going to do first is fill each one of them with a bit of baking soda. Just some regular old baking soda. I'm going to fill them up just to reduce the depth a little bit, and then I'm going to hit it with some super glue, and then after that, we're going to put a little bit of glitter inside of it. Going to need some kind of little scoop. Maybe we'll use a zip tie. Maybe we'll use a pipette. Okay, so now we're just going to add some of this super glue in over top of this baking soda, and it should basically instantly harden. Just heating it up again, because it is very cold out here. It's about minus 20 degrees Celsius today. So now the next step is our glitter. I'm going to use some of this white glitter here to fill these in. And I'm going to try to use another one of these pipettes to get the glitter out of the container, because I don't want to have a big glitter mess on my hands. Seems like a glitter mess might be unavoidable. You know what? I feel like I may have put way too much glitter in there. So I'm actually gonna try to get some of it out of here. Okay, so I'm just gonna scrape some of this off of here with a razor blade. So we'll hit it again with the super glue. Whoa. That's not good. I probably should have put the top back onto this. I think I'm gonna give that a few minutes to dry. Gonna try to wipe this up. Maybe wipe some of this glitter off of here. This is gonna be a real mess. Just gonna let that sit for a minute. Just gonna maybe suck a little bit of this extra glue out of here if I can. I'm just gonna heat this up. Hopefully that will cause it to cure. She's still wet. Getting a little bit harder, but not anywhere near where we want it to be. We're going to hit it with some of our accelerator. All right, now she's hard. Just going to do a little bit of scraping on these, the razor blade. Okay, that's about all I'm willing to spend trying to mess with this. I'm just going to add a little bit more glitter into all these, and then yeah, just let her be. Okay, just gonna run it like that. Man, I feel like I've used so much of this super glue, probably because I spilled half the bottle, but that's all right. You live and learn, right? Now I'm gonna heat it up again. Okay, now I'm gonna spray it again with the accelerator. It's definitely hardened up on the surface, but I feel like it's not fully cured towards the center. So just gonna give it another little spritz. I don't know if this is doing anything. I really don't know if this is doing anything. I really hope this works. At this point, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it aside, and I'm gonna clean up all this. I think I'm gonna let this dry for a bit, and then I'm gonna have to sand this down. Yeah, it'll really be something. All right, so today we're just gonna be sanding the fretboard. So I've got some of these radiusing sanding blocks that'll put the correct curve into the fretboard. Well, I assume the correct curve. I only have 16-inch blocks, so hopefully this will work for this. Also, I don't really have a good clamping situation for this. Really this should be clamped down, but I'm not really a professional woodworker, so I'm just gonna have to kind of just run with it. Wish me luck. We're gonna have to go for another piece of sandpaper. So it's not looking too great, I gotta be honest. Not very happy with the way that turned out, but what can you do? Okay, so now I'm gonna go up to my 220 grit. I got the 150 grit scratches out of here. I should probably mention this. The way that I'm sanding this neck right now, with the fact that it's not supported under here, potentially can cause me some issues. I do have a bit of a feel for sanding, so that's why I feel comfortable doing it. But I mean, if you're gonna try doing this at home, you should really have this supported. Honestly, I should really have this supported too. But you know what? I'm not worried about it, but I'm just gonna mention it to you in case you want to try doing this. So now we're gonna go up to 400 grit, I believe. So now we're gonna go to the 600 grit. Bit of a close-up of this. Where we're at right now, you can see we've got some fret slots filled in with super glue. So that's gonna be a real treat to deal with. Just gotta jump in here to say that I'm actually not happy with how these glitter and super glue fret markers turned out, but they're so hard I can't get them out of here, so I'm kind of stuck with them now. yeah, so maybe don't try doing it. I got one of my old frets here that I pulled out, and I'm just going to use it to set the depth on this saw. So, well, actually, I guess the depth is maxed out there, so seems pretty deep of a cut. You know what, maybe I'll just clamp it like that. All right, so we've got it all sanded down to 600 grit. Got the fret slots cleaned out. Put a straight edge on there. I don't know if you can tell, but take my word for it, it's flat enough. And now I'm going to get ready to put the frets in it. Just got some of these frets I've had kicking around. They're medium guitar fret wire. This is just a, I don't know what this is even made out of, but it's just some kind of hard plastic, so it's not going to wreck the frets. I've also got these better cutters, I guess. It's been a long time since I refretted a guitar. I don't even remember the last time I did it, so this will be fun. Okay, so I think I'm going to start down at this end of the neck, just because this is the end that there was the most damage and I'm the most worried about. So just kind of give that a cut right there, I think. Ooh. So another thing we're going to need to do is put a little bit of a arch into the fret, because the fretboard is kind of bent, right? So you want to kind of pre-bend the fret. They have special machines for that. A little roller you can get. Of course, I don't have one, so we're just going to do it like that. So it's a danger zone after all, so I feel like this should be a little bit better than that, though. I feel like that's not good enough. So, you know, maybe we'll use this propane tank here. Let's see if this will do us. Nope, don't think so. So this is the thing I made to put the arch in these frets. What I did is I took a 4x4 post that I was using to, you know, chalk the wheel on my truck when I'm working on my truck. And I cut a large, I took my biggest hole saw and cut a circle in it right near the top. And then the hole saw wasn't deep enough to go all the way through, which is fine. So I just basically chipped off all this wood that was up on the top side of it. And then I initially cut this slot into it, which was too wide, but then I cut this narrower slot into it. So what I'll do is put the fret into the slot like that. Then I can take my hammer and kind of, this is, I can't do this with filming, but what I'll do is I'll hit with my hammer and I'll put an arch into the fret. And that'll make it a lot easier to get them installed into this fretboard. So kind of put a bit of a curve into it. Probably could have been a smoother curve, but let's see if this works. Well, as long as it works, right? All right, so got all the frets in there now. Definitely marked up the fretboard, which I'm not too happy about. But what can you do, I guess? So now I'm just gonna go and cut the edges off here. All right, so I got these frets in here. Some of them are a little bit loose, so I'm gonna have to glue them. And yeah, it's not a big deal. What I'm doing now is I'm just getting ready to glue these loose frets in. So I'm going to clamp them down like this, get them real tight in there, make sure they're looking good. And then I'm going to take some of my super glue here, find a pipette for that. Okay, so I got one of my old dirty pipettes that had sparkles in it. We're just going to use that. It's going to double check that these are in here correctly. Just going to add another clamp or two. Just going to let that sit for a bit. Well, I don't have patience to let it sit for a bit. I'm just going to hit it with some accelerator. I hope that's good. Okay, that seems to have worked. This side first. So now at this point, got my frets all glued in. They're not going anywhere now. They're locked in. So now I've got to clean up the edge of the fretboard because I did cut them off, but they're nowhere near where they need to be. So I'm actually gonna have to clamp this into my vise. I'll see what I can do to get this visible for you. There we go. So I just got a file here. Okay, so that's one side. You know what? We got to put a little bit of a bevel on those too, so might as well just do it like this. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it like this. I think I'll do it a different way. This one, unfortunately, is going to not be in this frame, but it'll be the same as the other one, so just bear with me here. Well, there we go. So I got the frets put back in. Just a little bit of small things I got to do now. I've got a little bit of a chip out there along the edge of the fretboard. And some of these fret slots I cut a little bit deep, so we'll just do that quickly here. All right, so just a couple more little things. I do have some dents in this fretboard, some dents in the fretboard that I caused when I was hammering on it. I think that's probably because I was hitting it really hard. I don't know if like this hammer I think is probably 50, 60, 70 years old. I think it's my grandpa's old hammer. So this plastic stuff probably has hardened up over time. That's a possibility. It is also a possibility I'm just an idiot. So what I'm going to try to do is with wood, unfinished wood, like this rosewood fretboard, if you put a damp towel over top of it and then iron it, it can actually steam the dents out to some extent. So I'm going to try that on there. And then hopefully that works. And then I got a little bit of super glue that had run out the frets. Try to scrape that off of there, maybe with like a plastic razor blade or something. But yeah, so for all intents and purposes, I'm not doing anything more on these frets until this neck is on the guitar. And yeah, we're just setting it up. I'm hoping I don't have to level the frets, but I probably will. I just really hate filing the frets. It's such a pain in my butt. But you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So yeah, I guess that's it for this chapter. So if you found this interesting, please, like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment, maybe, I don't know, do something. That's it.